And welcome to our first edition of Meister Discussions by yours truly, Ken Meister LP. We're going to be talking about gaming in 2017, our thoughts on the games we played this year, some disappointing ones, albeit not many, and some really great ones, some good comebacks and what have you. So, with me today, I have.
Mr. ESP X.
Hello, it's me, Raven.
Hello, it's me, Dementia. Podcast bombing, woo!
Alright, so. Yeah, 2017. 2017 was a really good year in gaming, I feel, for in a very long time.
Indeed.
Especially given that, Nintendo finally made that comeback that they've been needing these past several years because 2015 and 2016 were just. It's. I'm pretty sure I beat it that horse. Like, yeah, 2016. When your biggest highlight or biggest selling point supposed to be Star Fox Zero for Nintendo, you know something's wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's a
Star.
discussion for a much later time. Right now, we're just here to talk about the games of 2017.
Star Fox
So,
Zero.
Oh,
Shit.
really? I was,
but
I was
but
under the
pretty
impression
much,
that I was under the
but
impression that we were here to restart this podcast 50 million times.
but but yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, so pretty much we're gonna divide into each category. We're each gonna do a top three type thing. So starting off, we're gonna do with top three disappointing game of the year, and then so how we're gonna do it is first Ken is gonna talk about his third disappointing game of the year. And then it's me talking about my third disappointing game of the year, and then it's Raven's turn to talk about his third. Pretty much on and four, going like in a circle. And after the third one, we just move on to the second and the first. And then after that, we're going to talk about surprising game of the year. Just games that we thought, were really surprising, that really caught us off guard. And then, of course,
We're going to go on to the best game of the year.
yes,
'Cause,
best
I
game
mean,
of the year.
this wouldn't be a
And then,
podcast without it.
yeah, exactly. And then after that, we'll just talk about, games we expect from 2018.
Before the best game of the year, we talk about the worst game of the year, pretty much.
Oh, wait, no. Doesn't that fall into most disappointing or?
No, most disappointing means like big title games, all that. Worst means games that are literally crappy and all out.
Oh boy.
Just bad, just literally like, I mean,
Um,
if you thought one certain game, like if you think one certain game was really bad in your opinion, then stick with that. You know what I mean? It's your opinion. You thought that game was really bad. You stick with that. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, that's probably going to be that. It's going to. I'll probably just think up something because honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the. I can. I'm sure I
All
can
right, let's
think of
go
one.
ahead and
Yeah, let's
yeah,
just go on.
yeah. If anything, you'll probably go last. If anything, just thinking anything till then. Now, I do have to also point out if since Ken is starting off with number three, and if that game is in your list as well, just feel free to jump in and stuff and talk about it. So yeah. Alrighty, let's go
Alright.
ahead and get started with disappointing in the game of the year. Ken, what is your number three disappointing game of the year?
Be honest, most of the disappointing games I've seen are stuff that I've pretty much just followed. Like, I never really go out of my way to go and play a bad game. Most of it's just from watching media and other playthroughs and stuff. But I do have to say it's kind of funny how Sonic had both the best and one of the best and worst games of this year. Manage that.
So,
So let's
are you
talk about
saying that? So are you saying Sonic Forces is your number three?
I guess.
I'm. Yeah, I'm.
Like everybody else's.
Yeah, that's
Sonic
probably
Forces.
my. That's
But
probably
it was
my number three too.
honestly,
Even though I've
it was
never played it.
I was watching it and it looked kind of promising. I was like, okay, so they're kind of going back to the basics. It looks like they're looking at the stuff that generations fans wanted and kind of wanting to get it. I was like, oh, cool. So I got to play Mania, and it was like I'm not even a Sonic fan, but Mania just has this really smartly designed these smartly designed levels that you can tell the creators had single bit of thought process into just about every obstacle. It feels like.
Yeah,
Every fun
and
from
if they
nostalgia.
remastered, some of the old classic acts and stuff like that, like Chemical Plant Zone and everything,
Yep.
you're doing something right. But Sonic Forces, man, oh man.
The more I watched Sonic Forces, I watched a bunch of trailers, and the number one piece of footage I remember watching that pretty much told me, yeah, I'm not buying this game, was when they first showed off Shadows DLC,
Yes.
and like literally the stage design was a bunch of like fucking boxes placed with each other. I'm like, there is some magic. I'm like it is like both visually and structurally dull. Like, how the fuck do you accomplish that? Like, and I knew like what the moment the leaks had came through, and then I saw people streaming the game. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna waste 40 fucking bucks on a 5-hour game. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Wait,
Yeah, I mean,
No, like I know like people have told. I know the most popular opinion to go off of is your own, and to be able to play the game on your own merit. But everything I was watching, from the reviews to the playthroughs and all that shit, it just wasn't ringing the right bells for me. It was all automated. To me, when I look at Sonic Forces, it looked like to me that Sonic Team had literally learned nothing, and they were repeating past mistakes.
honestly,
yeah.
Sonic Forces would also fit my list on number 3, but for a bit of slightly different reasons. Because I actually bought Sonic Forces. I have yet to play it, but I've seen videos of it, and the main reason I have yet to play it is because I'm busy playing another game that I'm really addicted to. But like, the main reason why Sonic Forces disappoints me is because I'm not a fan of boost style gameplay.
To be honest, I don't think there's anything wrong with the boost formula per se, but like I feel like it's at this point it's overworn its welcome to the point where I don't really see what else they can do to build off of it. It worked in Colors and worked in Generations, it worked in Unleashed, and to me it just, because of how automated the level design is. There's actually a video where they tell you about the first enemy you see and Forces, and it's an enemy that stands there and does nothing, and it's built just for you to run into. And then it compares it to first enemies of other Sonic games where they actually initiate and try to attack you. And it's just like they somehow not they didn't build upon something they've had for 3 fucking games in a row. They went backwards.
Yeah.
Me,
Yeah, I mean, with a lot of success, with later, like, other Sonic games, like, Generations, you would think that, that finally Sonic Team has learned past from Sonic 06. But no, once they made Sonic Forces, like, nope, back to square one for the Sonic Team and Sega.
okay, honestly, I'm just gonna say this right now. I don't hate Sonic 06.
Okay, well, that's a conversation for another time. Alrighty,
I'm
let's
sure
go
that's-
ahead.
Yes.
I'm sure you guys agree.
So
But-
yes.
So
like-
so it's my
Yes.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, your turn.
Alright, so again, starting off, I didn't really play much games in 2017 due to the fact that, in July 2017, I had became a father and stuff. So, obviously, I didn't really have time to play a lot of video games. I did play some video games and stuff. I played some bad, I played some good, Starting off with my number 3 and stuff was a really big letdown for me because I literally was waiting for this game ever since it was announced. And I was a big fan of this show back growing up in the 90s. And I'm talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Mega Battles is my number 3 disappointing game of 2017.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that, and it looks like one of those cheap flash games you put on Steam for like $5.
It
Yep.
is. It's literally like one of those games that you find like on freaking Nickelodeon.com, and then you just try to beat the game and stuff like that, or like a cheap knockoff of a mobile game or anything like that. I mean, I wasn't I didn't mind how it looked like, while the characters all looked like big heads with little bodies and stuff like that. I didn't mind that. I thought that was like pretty cool, like really really funny, pretty much. But oh man, oh man, oh man, the whole like combat thing was just horrendous. Let alone it took forever to beat certain putties and ravens and everything. And I remembered the one big letdown was the Megazord sequences. Oh my gosh. You would think you would control a Megazord, literally fight them, but no, there was just a quick time event, which was really disappointing. I remember, I mean, I didn't necessarily hate it that much, but I thought it was just, really disappointing and everything. And yeah, I also remember freaking it took like the last battle with Zed, Lord Zed. Oh my gosh. It literally haunts me till this day. Like, this dude, literally, you had to like, he spams you with these like electrical attacks while using his staff and everything. And there's this one moment where I guess he just gets tired for a few seconds, and that's your chance. It literally took me like at least an hour to finally beat him, just for the fact that it was just too like it dragged on, and I just literally just wanted to like quit the game there and stuff. So yeah.
All right, my opinion. My number 3 is basically one game that I was really looking forward to when it was announced by Bungie, but was really let down by it being the same shit as the previous game, and that was
Destiny.
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
I did not hate that game.
I was honestly disappointed by it because it was just like the same shit. They wanted to patch in big DLC and shit, and literally give us an expansion pass patchette, and it was just like they were begging for money.
I mean, I can't really join this conversation because I didn't necessarily think the game was bad. I think I'll save that for the other lists.
I personally think that, like, I've only really played a tiny bit of Destiny 1 while I was at someone who owned the game. And personally, I found that disappointing. So, like, if 2 was anything like it, yeah, that sounds really bad. Because, like, the original Destiny was hyped up to be this great, glorious thing. That played it. It was just a Halo clone, pretty much.
I mean, I get that Bungie, yeah, they've made Halo for so long, and they're really trying to move past it ever since they joined Activision and everything, and, that's when resulted with Destiny. I mean, to me, the first Destiny was, an okay game. I did play some of it. I even had my own clan, along with my brother and a couple of our friends and stuff like that. And we were pretty hyped up for Destiny 2, but again, I'm literally saving that conversation for another time because, well, yeah, I can't talk about it because it didn't disappoint me this year. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and move on.
Number 2.
Alrighty.
Ken, your go.
To be honest, I don't really have much else to add to this, so I might other subgenres for like best games I've played for the consoles I've been on. So, and there's still games I want to get to, like Persona 5 and Nier Automata. Those are games that are high up on my list. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as well. But
all right.
But so
I'll
guess
go
I'll go
ahead.
ahead. I'll go ahead and just skip over to my number 1. And it's not really speak too much for it because I've only played it a little bit with my brother because he got it for Christmas, but it's just for the fact of what this game stands for. And you probably know what I'm talking about. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
That's actually my number 2.
That's my number. That is my number 1. Alright, so let's just speak about it. Fucking Fucking microtransactions everywhere.
Okay. So
I've-
you know this game was such huge letdown when Disney had to get involved. Yes, the whole
Yep.
microtransactions and then the loot boxes. Yes,
Yep.
I didn't really mind the loot boxes because games these days require loot boxes, say like Overwatch and I don't know, freaking Madden and pretty much any of the
17 is full of loot box shit. Jesus.
yeah. Yeah,
And that
a
is my
lot
big-
of 2017 games was the loot boxes and everything.
That is my biggest
I
problem
mean,
with 2017 was how the
yeah.
microtransactions just being even more prevalent than they've ever been, and EA being even scummier than they usually are.
EA
I
is
mean-
always scummy.
EA
Yeah.
doesn't
This
make
year
any
took
good
the
games.
fucking cake.
But
Yeah,
I'm afraid I can't really speak much about this conversation because I've never played either of the Star Wars Battlefronts or even been interested in them.
yeah. I mean, I did play the first. I played the first one. It was an okay game. I played it because of the whole Starfighter Assault multiplayer. I know it focused more on multiplayer, if anything, but Battlefront 2 to me, oh my gosh, where do we start with this one? So ever since all of these fans were raging about the whole microtransaction, they decided, okay, you know what, let's just take off the microtransactions and add them back on for a later time and everything. And then so people were literally forced to grind, I mean, hours and hours to try to get other popular Star Wars character heroes and villains like Darth Vader, who was I believe was 15,000 credits. It would literally take you 40 hours to try to get him and everything. It literally took me about a month to do it because I had a situation with my PlayStation 4 where I had to send it to the PlayStation customer service and stuff where they could fix it and everything. I didn't get it back until around 2 weeks ago and stuff. And yeah, I mean, and then the whole DLC thing with The Last Jedi and everything really didn't help out neither and stuff. Even though it was kind of great for them to have it as free instead of having to pay it separately and stuff. But still, oh my gosh, it's still a disappointment. I seriously, they've made changes. Let me tell you something. I was a big fan of Starfighter Assault. It literally reminded me of past Star Wars games what was that? Fighter Squadron for the GameCube or something like that. I forgot.
Rogue
Squadron.
Squadron.
Rogue Squadron. Yeah, there we go. I literally thought that game was nice and everything. It
Yeah.
literally reminded me of Star Fox in a way, even though Star Wars came first. But just that they literally took out where in the first game where you just press up or down on the D-pad where you could be able to get away from enemies quickly and in Battlefront 2, they took that away to where I guess their best luck is just trying to freaking do a barrel roll and yet
Yep.
not work at all. So yeah, I mean, I didn't.
Basically, what you're saying is Battlefront 2 feels like a watered down version of Rogue Squadron in a way.
Yep.
It's more of a watered down version for Battlefront 1. I mean, the only reason I got the game was for the campaign because, I love a good Star Wars story than the next guy, but yeah, the whole campaign wasn't really that great and stuff like that. Introducing a new character where in trailers she was hyping up to be this, I guess, she was hyping up to just be dedicated to the Empire and everything, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, she's a rebel. Oh well, shit, I did not know that and stuff. And let me tell you something, Luke Skywalker did not look like Luke Skywalker at all.
Well, Tao, what
He
is
does not.
your number 2?
Wait. Did we do GamerMeister's
Number two. Yeah,
I
he talked about Star Wars Battlefront 2, and then
I thought that was
his number 2 happened to be my number 2 as well.
Oh, okay. I thought that was his Star Wars Battlefront was his number 1.
So I don't have a whole lot to say. To be honest,
No,
I don't
yeah.
have a lot to say on bad games because I mostly just followed the media and just saw what was bad, I guess. But
Yeah, and I told him it. Yeah, and his number one, he said, is my number two. So you're good to go.
Okay. Ukulele.
Ukulele? That Banjo Kazooie clone?
Yeah.
It was somewhere in my disappointing list. It's not in the top 3, but it is disappointing. I was
It is-
I was
think-
expecting something new from like the original Banjo Kazooie's. Tough shit, we got the same thing.
I was looking forward to it, like, because I was looking forward to it because I've never played the original Banjo Kazooie, and I was looking to get into that. And then then they get into the whole John thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that was when I knew. That was when I knew the game was going to be set. And then the game turned out to be set.
Yep.
And I wasn't surprised, but I was very disappointed.
It was like
Yeah.
I played this on stream on my own channel for like many parts, and all I felt was an amusement.
Super large and empty with no sense of direction anyway.
Yep.
The best part, the good part is I have heard that there is another game that came out this year that's also supposed to be a bit like Banjo-Kazooie, except actually good. And
A hat in time.
Yes, I tried to get it for Christmas, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Probably because wasn't out on Switch yet. But yeah,
No.
I plan on playing that at some point because I've heard it's a really, really good game. But yeah, my number 2 is ukulele.
Alright.
Alright.
Now it's time for our threesome. Alright, Alright, number 2 for me. Alright, I'm getting back on track. Number 2 for me, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh God,
Oh,
yes.
What the hell was this? I saw
Oh,
my dad play it, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? We have
It's a graphical mess.
we have googly-eyed humans. We have googly-eyed humans whose skin looks like rubber dolls.
It is literally a graphical mess. You know, from the success of the first 3 Mass Effect games, you would think that this game was gonna be the cream of the crop, but it was the shitter.
Yep.
It was just, glitches everywhere. They even I guess they made a patch to where I guess they kind of fixed the facial features, but literally did not work at all.
I mean, to be honest, not that I've played any Mass Effect games, but after how bad I've heard 3 was, were you really expecting anything from Andromeda?
Not really. I mean, I didn't really mind Mass Effect 3 being. I mean, Mass Effect 3 was, somewhat good and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone hates the whole ending and everything like that. I really did not care at all. But yeah, this game was just a really big disappointment. But that isn't actually my number 1.
Alrighty,
But,
let's get down to you two's number 1. ESP,
So-
what's your number 1?
So, Ken will probably know this by now, since he knows I'm a big fighting game fan. And this game, literally, I was a big fan of the series and everything since I grew up back in the 90s and everything.
It's Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, isn't it?
Thank you. Yeah, it is. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Where do I start with this? I think I should start this with a letter. Dear Capcom, it's great that you got the licensing back to Marvel. I was really expecting a new Capcom game. Just didn't expect it to be that soon.
But all we got was a fuck you.
We got was the middle finger, pretty much. I mean, I didn't really mind it that you guys went back to 2v2 because, well, that's how you guys started with X-Men vs. Street Fighter and everything. But literally, the whole graphical thing just literally looks like that one mobile game called Marvel Conquest of Champions. It literally looked like that. Like, they literally took that game and then They literally took that game and just copied and pasted on the game pretty much and everything,
For
and
like
just
the Chun-Li
yeah.
memes when they came out, and what they would do is that they would sit there and like Photoshop her face in like older Tekken game images, and nobody could tell the difference, and that was the joke.
Yep.
Pretty much. Like, I didn't really mind her face neither, I literally didn't mind, the trailers and how freaking Captain America looked buff as shit and everything. I bought it. Just that I was disappointed because I did buy the deluxe edition and stuff. So, yeah. But, and then the whole controls is just, it felt funny. It wasn't your traditional Marvel's Capcom 3 controls. I mean, I get, yeah, they wanted it to make the controls seem like any casual player by, putting in easy combos and auto easy. Well, I didn't really mind the easy hyper combos because, well, they've added that, in other titles and stuff like that. But oh man, it looked like a mess, and then the story mode was a big disappointment. I get that Capcom is literally trying to, do the same thing with, NetherRealm Studios type story modes with Mortal Kombat and Injustice, but it literally was just a huge mess. The characters were like off character. They literally, like one liner after another, and 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 that one moment where Rocket Raccoon got Dante's ebony and ivory guns. Oh my god, it was just I was like crying for help. I'm like, get me out of here, please.
I remember like watching a vid on it, and the reason why I was disappointed the most was because most of the characters we known to grew in love, like Wolverine. Where's fucking Wolverine?
Where are the X-Men characters? Yes. Well, I mean, I get, yeah. Like back in 2017, Disney and Marvel had a really big dispute with Fox for trying to get the rights back. So and everything. So I get that, but yeah, why not just add fan favorite characters like Doctor Doom, Wolverine, even like Cyclops. I mean, I'm glad that they added back Mega Man X and not only Mega Man.
To me, it makes less sense.
Yeah, like it was like.
To me, it makes less sense. Well, hold on, let me finish. Like, to me, it makes less sense when you realize the series literally started off as X-Men versus Street Fighter, and you're not putting in the characters that started the series. Like, what?
Yeah, the characters that literally, we played throughout. Let me tell you, my two people I like to use as my mains were Ryu and Cyclops. Those are my two favorites right there. And then they didn't include him in the first Marvel's Capcom game and stuff, but they added him back for Marvel's Capcom 2, which is always cool and all. Marvel's Capcom 3, they took him out and stuff. And well, I was left to like kind of experiment and everything. And well, Marvel's Capcom Infinite, I was really happy that they added the 2v2 back, but it just didn't work at all.
Alright, so Tao, what is your number one?
Okay, so a bit, I guess a tiny bit of history. I've been a huge fan of the series, like, since forever. Like, I love the series, and it's like, I really wish that this game had turned out better. But it did. The fact that I had such high standards that this game was being hyped up until its release, only for it to be a massive disappointment to me, that's what makes this number one. Breath of the Wild.
Are you serious?
Huh?
What?
I've been a huge fan of the Zelda series for like ever. I started back in the GameCube days with Wind Waker, with Four Swords Adventures. That game's an underrated gem, by the way, Four Swords Adventures. But then out comes Breath of the Wild, and it's like everything about the trailers, about everything. Like, it looked amazing. It looked absolutely phenomenal. Because it was like, whoa, you have this huge open world. Surely they're going to have all these sorts of different combinations, all these sort of things you can do in this world. And the game turned out you could do a lot of things in the world, but there was there was no reason to. The game, I expected the game to be like a more sandboxy Zelda, but then the game came out and it was basically a sandbox without the Zelda. The dungeons were like the dungeons were great, but they were they were too short, and they were ended up being disappointing because of that. There's no rewards for searching. Like before, you would search and you could like if you found a secret, you could find like say a heart piece or something in it. But the only things in Tusk now are like weapons for your ever breaking like weapon stats that you always have, and it's like, and the only things you find that are permanent besides rupee, like, because the only things you're gonna find in Tusk are either rupees or weapons, with the very, very, very exception of armor in like one or two places. But then the one thing that is permanent, the one secret that is permanent, are the signs, and you'd expect the signs to be great. You'd go in them thinking they would be like the main meat of the game, but like they're not really that good because like don't get me wrong, the gameplay in them is kind of good, but like the dungeons, they're really, really short, and then and they all have the same aesthetics. They all like get boring after a while because they all look the same. And not only that, they all it's not much of a there's not much challenge in finding them because you have a Veda like that points you in the direction of these. It's like you're not there's very little challenge in finding them. And you don't really feel much satisfaction because you have to go through this long animation, enter the sign, go through this bland looking area with hope. Oh, keeping in mind of which, there's only 80, 80 veal signs. Out of the out of the 120 signs there are, 20 of them have no meat in them and just give you the prize right away, and another 20 of them are the same combat challenge. And then, like, even of the 80, like the infamous motion control puzzles, like forced motion controls. God, I hated those.
But that was how the original Zelda was!
But then you go
How
up,
can you?
then you go up, but then you reach the end of the sign, and the guy, and you have to sit through this long animation of this guy giving you your prize, and the prize isn't a heart piece. Like it's functionally a heart piece, but it doesn't have the same feel as a heart piece because it feels more like a currency. Like you have to go in, cash it in. It's basically like another. It's basically a more rare form of rupee that it gives you because you go to a shop and you buy either a heart container or a stamina guards piece with 4 of them. That doesn't feel like it's functionally the same as a heart container.
Stop.
Only it has the extra
Stop.
step in it.
Stop. It is to say it is like the original Zelda. It's supposed to be like the NES Zelda, and you're hating on that!
No. Wait. Even with all that, I could possibly forgive all that. But my main problem is that there's literally no form of progression in the game. In the or there is, but it's very, very minimal. I guess the biggest thing the biggest thing that I am upset about with the game are the lack of dungeon items. Like how you go through a dungeon and halfway through you get an item, it would help you. Every single Zelda has done it. Even the original, even Zelda 2. Every single Zelda game has done that. And then Breath of the Wild goes and like doesn't have that. And that was my favorite. That was my absolute favorite part of Zelda games. Going through a dungeon and finding a cool item to use. Meanwhile, in Breath of the Wild, you get all 4 dungeon items at the very, very start of the game, and they're all bland because they're like Bionic Spoon,
Okay, what?
Bomb Room.
Whoa.
Like in like in other Zelda games, you get stuff like that have like actual lore behind them. You get or like implied lore, or at least things that would make you think about the mystery about them.
Can we
Like
stop ranting
say,
about this? I am literally
Yeah.
triggered to the
Yeah.
fullest.
Let's.
Yeah.
That was
Okay,
a. That
so,
was
okay,
a.
fine.
so let me go ahead and interject right now that like Breath of the Wild, it was probably the first game I played in 2017. I unfortunately was a victim of the Wii U version though, so rip
That was the
frame rate
version I played.
issues. But anyways, Breath of the Wild, I can understand. For me, was a much needed change because when you think about it, a lot of what has been derived from Breath of the Wild, because the reason they give you all of these is because they want you to take progression at your own pace.
Yes.
It's a very in a way Zelda 1 was kind of like that too, because like you didn't have sure you got dungeon items, but they were outside of maybe like 2 or 3 different scenarios, they were never really like your barricades preventing you from going into other dungeons. But the reason Breath of the Wild is designed the way it is because of the backlash of Skyward Sword. And I can go into Skyward Sword is actually a Zelda game I hate. Because
Yes, I can fully agree with
I
that.
that is a game that gave you and Breath of the Wild was made because of the complaints Skyward Sword was given. Aonuma went on record saying that the reason that Breath of the Wild was given this more open paced progression feel was because let's be honest, Skyward Sword like overworld, it's so constrained, like it to me when I go in like the overworld areas of Skyward Sword, it kind of feels more like glorified dungeons rather than extensions of the world or learning about the world or building, doing any sort of world building for that matter. That's more like the problem, and the progression just felt so constrained, and the game didn't give you any sense of agency whatsoever. That was my biggest complaint. Like,
Yep.
people will bitch about the controls all they want. I never had a problem with the controls. Skyward Sword never gave you any sense of agency. Everything was handed to you on a silver platter, and everything felt like there was always some kind of artificial barrier preventing you from going anywhere, and because of that, it felt like there was no sense of exploration in Skyward Sword. Even
the
the sky area or whatever, not really anything to see. So they decided to fix this by giving Breath of the Wild, the biggest overworld to date, that's supposedly bigger than Skyrim's overworld. And game's structured is the narrative is what you make of it. I'm not saying the narrative is perfect. I get
Yeah, but
separate video with
the
my
pro-
problems of the narrative, but well, not necessarily the narrative itself, like how it's told, but like what's told in the narrative. But the thing with Wild is the game is what you make of it. Like, if you want to finish the game in 45 minutes, go finish it in 45 minutes. If you don't want to, it's like nothing's stopping you doing what you want and getting what you want out of it. Or I'd say, okay, so I did the basic grid. I did a few side quests. I kind of explored a decent chunk of the overworld. I got a few shrines. I got all the divine beasts. I went to beat Ganon. I went and beat Divine Ganon, and I didn't really do much after that. And I feel like because of how flexible like Breath of the Wild's like progression is, like it gives it infinite replayability in a way that I loved out of games like Link Between Worlds. I love games that give you so many different ways to play through it because I can expect a different kind of playthrough every time I jump into it. And I'm not saying Breath of the Wild's my favorite Zelda game, but like, goddamn, is it something we've needed for a very long time? But there are some things that can be fixed, like Tail was saying earlier. Like I think the dungeons, they could probably tone down the amount they have and make them a bit more interesting. I do kind of miss the Zelda-esque dungeons. I didn't really have a problem with the breakable items. I just had a problem with the fact that all of them were basically glorified weapons, a different kind of weapons, and not used for much else. But that was what the Sheikah Slate was for, basically. But
it's like they give you
I see Breath of the Wild as the next big step for Nintendo, and I see that if they can take these little minor things and fix it, I think the Breath of the Wild is a winning formula that can be expanded upon, and I definitely see that at some point or another they can fix some of the issues Tail, and even I have sometimes. But yeah, for me,
I think the main. I'm just gonna like add on like I'm just gonna say that I don't hate Breath of the Wild. I don't think it's the best game ever 2017, but I don't think that I don't think it's the best game ever 2017, but I don't think it's a bad game. I think my main
is not my top 3.
I think my main problems with Breath of the Wild come down to what type of player I am. Because like I'm the sort of person who likes there being a sort of linear progression. Or not completely linear, but I like that if there was like some sort of like semi straightforward progression that you'd go through. Because one of my biggest joys is trying to reach areas you're not supposed to go to yet, but that the game tells you you're not supposed to go to this, and still trying to find ways to get to them, and eventually finding a way to get to them. Breath of the Wild doesn't do that. Breath of the Wild tells you can go to any area right off the bat, and that bothers me because like I want the game to tell me no, you shouldn't be going here, and I want to be able to go around the game and give it a figurative middle finger, and just go. I want Breath of the Wild to tell me, no, you can't go into the Faron Woods yet because you haven't completed so-and-so dungeon. And I want to be like, oh, but look at this, I found a secret way in. Whoops.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind. Have you seen the Magnesis exploits at all, where people will take these and ride on them?
Can I ask a question? Alright, so I respect your opinion, but what are your opinions on Skyward Sword?
My opinions on Skyward Sword is that, it's not one of the best Zeldas I've ever played, but I generally liked it for being more. It felt more like a Zelda game than Breath of the Wild. I liked it. It was terrible.
Excuse me!
Okay, hold on. Alright, I think we should move on because we don't want to have this like a Zelda talk. I think that should be saved for another podcast.
No, hold on,
I think the versions are great because come on, if we're going to stick right on topic, this podcast is going to be kind of short and kind of boring.
No, I need to ask you a question. You like Skyward Sword?
I think we should move on. Yeah, we should move on. All right, let's go ahead and move on.
You like this formality piece of shit?
That was a big surprise. Speaking of surprises, let's go ahead and move on to surprising game of the years. So pretty much this category falls into
Hold on.
games we thought were going to be bad, but when we played it, surprisingly was really good and stuff like that. And we expected less from them, but it exceeded our expectations pretty much. So, Ken, do you want to start number 3, or do you want me to start?
Well, again, and I'll go ahead and say this again, but Sonic Mania, you know, again, as somebody who's not really a Sonic fan, Sonic Mania blew my expectations. For the first time, I felt like I could, like, let go of, like, everything I've come to, like, sit there and critically analyze and just sit down and have fun. Like, sometimes we forget that, you know, a lot of the games we grew up with, we played just to have fun, and Sonic Mania just kind of brought me back to that.
Sonic Mania wasn't my top 3 surprising game of the year. I think it was more.
And Fire Emblem Echoes to be one of the best I've ever heard in a video game ever. Like, they really nailed the localization in it. And as a result, like, a lot of the moral grays and, like, the character development and just, like, the constant, like, character struggles, that's, like, stuff I haven't seen since Path of Radiance, if not more so. Now, granted, there were a few kind of dumb moments in the story here and there, like the reason why they recruited Alm to join the Resistance in the first place. I thought that was a pile of bullshit. But beyond that, though, it had a lot of, like, meaningful impact on me as far as, like, it had a kind of letting go of the past sort of theme to it. I feel like something I haven't really seen since a lot of earlier JRPGs and pulled off rather well. To add to that, but a problem a lot of people seem to have, though, is the map design, and I will admit some of the maps are definitely worse than others. Points at the swamp and desert maps; those are fucking terrible. But, like, I didn't really think it was that bad. I thought the gameplay was good enough as far as, like, the ranking up system was kind of interesting, and that, like, um so many levels, and then you took somebody to, like, this fountain, and you had, like, more, like, and, like, promotions available to you, which some classes are more broken than others, like the Pegasus Riders and the Dread Fighters, for example. But, like, I'd like to say, the narrative's concerned, it's a good. For me, it was a really good story that I didn't expect to see in a Fire Emblem game, given, like, the circumstances the 3DS games have been getting as of late. And, you know, if they can give us a story as good as Echoes again, while, like, the gameplay, like, elements from Fates, I really feel like they can nail it. Like, they could definitely be onto something. But what's funny, looking back at this, because, like, it basically is kind of the same story retold from an older NES game, but just with more, like, I want to say, I guess, more meaningful character interactions and shit. I find it funny that a story told over 20 years ago is better than anything the 3DS games have spat out. I fucking said it. But, yeah. Echoes, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'd like to see something like it again. The map design hasn't aged well at all, but, like, beyond that, like, enjoyed what I played. I didn't think the map design was as bad as some people were making it out to be.
Alright, so before we continue on, we're just going to recap for the viewers what just happened, because the desktop audio actually muted itself for some reason. I don't know what happened. But, basically, our number threes, Ken's number 3 was, Sonic Mania. ESP's number 3 was,
Friday 13th, the game.
Friday 13th, the game. Tal's number 3 was,
FNAF Pizzeria Simulator.
yes.
Also,
And-
I'm glad they missed the TLDR that was ESP's.
Yeah. And then Ken's number 2 was Fire Emblem Echoes. That's where we actually got to hear his discussion about it. So, alright, ESP, what is your number 2?
Alright, so my number 2. And I have been a big fan of the game for, ever since the first game came out. The last 2 games were really, really bad and glitchy. And Ubisoft, you redeemed yourself the 2017.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yes, Assassin's Creed Origins. Coming into this game when it was announced, I was really skeptical at first. I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna go back to the freaking dishonoring series.
That is my number 2. That is my number 2 as well.
Oh, okay. So you could join in the conversation with me. But yeah, coming in, I was all like, oh my god, this is going to be a disappointment in the series. Because, the whole being an origin story of how, the Brotherhoods had started and everything.
And then there was Unity with the glitches.
Yeah, and I literally wasn't, really disappointed when the setting was going to be in ancient Egypt. I've always wanted an Assassin's Creed game like that. But them going back to, how it all started and everything and all that, I was all like, oh my gosh, we'll see right now. But then when the game came out, I didn't get this game, 2 weeks after it has been released. But when I played this game, oh my gosh, it was just really, really beautiful. The only complaint I have about it was the controller changes, because I've always been used to the traditional combat that Assassin's Creed 2 has had up till Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and of course they making the changes to Unity and I forgot the other one. What's the other one again? The one that's based on No. The after Unity. The one that Syndicate. There we go. Syndicate. Yeah. I didn't really think Syndicate was it was a bad game. I thought it was an okay game and stuff like that. I get that they were trying to kind of make changes into it, but Assassin's Creed did literally redeemed itself. The story is surprisingly really good. You get a lot of of sense of why does the Brotherhood do this, why does the Brotherhood chop their ring finger off when you're initiated into the Brotherhood and stuff. And we were introduced to the dual blades and stuff. I mean, and it was a really well done game, honestly. And of course I do have my complaint was the controller. I mean, in my opinion, if the controllers isn't broke, then don't make changes into it and stuff. But it literally took me time to get used to them and stuff, because I've been a big fan since the older games and stuff like that. But at least do a setting where you could change the controls to make it seem like for the older veteran players of the games, to make it seem like they get a great feel of it. Pretty much switching it from I don't know, different the controllers that that they had for the first up till Black Flag, pretty much. So it was a really great game and stuff, and I literally had to come back to it and stuff because I stopped playing it for a while. I again haven't really played much, so I can't really talk much about it in regards to the story and what I think of it as a whole. I just need to come back to it one day. But yeah, it surprisingly surprised me and stuff. So yeah.
Yes, I can agree with all of those opinions. That's what I would have said. But now it's on to Tiles number 2.
I guess this one I've not really been. Actually, yeah, I think I know. Okay, Super Mario Odyssey.
What?
Super Mario Odyssey.
I would say that's my number 1 as well.
That's my number 2, but I'm not really sure. Like, I wasn't. I guess I wasn't too faithful in Mario, like, before it came out.
So like
Cause like not
for me, I wanted to see like something like Super Mario 64 and all that. But when I saw Super Mario Odyssey and played it, it really did feel something actually very well done.
so like I before I like back this was back when I guess like when it was announced, I'd I had played Super Mario 3D World, 3D Land, and Galaxy 2, and I found all three of them really, really disappointing. Like for me, the last good Mario game was like not counting like the side games or anything. The last good main Mario game was back in was Galaxy pretty much the original Galaxy.
I would
It's like
have to say the most greatest Mario game that I've seen that I've seen broke the records of like best game I've seen so far was actually Galaxy and Galaxy 2. But then
yeah,
I saw like all of the 3D World and 3D Land games and I was just getting bored of the trend. And then when Odyssey came out, I was just like so hyped to actually get back to that formula because that's the formula I like, the 3D platformers with the long jumps and the rolls and all that. And so when I actually played it, I was hooked.
that was that was sort of similar to mine, except that when I saw it, I was a little bit hyped, but I wasn't completely hyped because like I mean, obviously, it was a new Mario game, and it was like the Switch on the big comeback console. So yeah, I was a little bit hyped. But then after seeing them drop, like in my opinion, drop the ball on Breath of the Wild's greatness, I wasn't too sure on it. But then I finally got my hands on it. Well, more to be more specific, went out and bought a Switch just to play it because I felt like giving Nintendo one last chance. It actually turned out really, really good. Because, like, I guess, because it's one of those games, it feels like, to me, you know how that one saying goes where Zelda was meant to be the anti. You know how that one thing, you know how they once said that Zelda was built to be the anti Mario?
Yeah.
To me, this felt like a bit of a reversal on it because this Mario felt a bit more, I guess, like it felt more solid than Breath of the Wild in my opinion. But
Mhm.
going away from that, it really, it really felt like a good game because it was one of those games that it felt like what Breath of the Wild was trying to be. It's one of
Yeah.
those games that a casual player can pick up
Mario
and be.
Odyssey definitely is a bit more polished than like Breath of the Wild. I'll give it that.
Yep. So like a casual player can go into it and have a good time, because like the game has a simple control scheme, but a like but the I mean Super Mario Odyssey also like a more experienced player can go into the game and also have a good time because the game has like advanced techniques that are like simple on paper but complex to pull off that like reward the complex and the complex players, the people who are good and the people who experiment a bit. Like that was one thing I really liked. And not only that, but it, going back to the progression thing, Super Mario Odyssey actually had that progression thing where like it there was a clear progression, but then there were like sequence breaks in it as well. Like you could, there was a lot of potential for sequence breaking, and the game wasn't like, oh yeah, you can completely do this, but the game was like, you shouldn't do that, but if you do it, I guess that's fine. Which I really liked because it didn't feel too linear, but it didn't feel too open-ended either. And the game really, really gets difficult, like, near the end. Because it's like, some of the bonus stages are downright brutal. I'm not even talking about, like, the final level or something. I'm talking about stuff where you have to do, like, 20 frame-perfect long jumps in a row to get a single meal in one of the bonus kingdoms. And that to me was what made me really enjoy Odyssey. And it really brought back a lot of it. And now with what I hear, they're making a multiplayer thing, like an online multiplayer where you can go into this world with Luigi or something. Hearing that, I'm actually pretty hyped for that update. That when they that DLC or whatever when they release it. But yeah,
Alrighty, so,
Super Mario Odyssey. That's my second most surprising.
alright, so, on to Ken's number 1.
Oh God, about to fall asleep.
Alright.
Was I really that boring?
So, number one most surprising game of the year. It's not necessarily my number one favorite game of the year, not even top 3, but it feels like an interesting progression to the series because it lacked one really big key character that defined the series, but yet it was able to progress pretty well without it. And I'm talking about Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Yes. Yes.
So
Isn't my number one, but it's up there.
Now, Uncharted 4 is my personal favorite game in the series. I played it sometime earlier this year and I loved it to pieces. I didn't quite enjoy Lost Legacy as much as 4, and if Uncharted 4 came out this year, I probably would have put it up as my number one game, honestly. But Lost Legacy, show that like the writers of the series had done a really good job in like giving some of its key characters that felt really underdeveloped. Because I felt like named Chloe. Chloe kind of felt underdeveloped, especially after Uncharted 2, and then she was just sort of there in 3. So giving her in this game was something that I felt really helped as far as like expanding not only like character, but getting a better understanding of just like how she feels about Drake after like parting ways, more or less, and saying that she's still got her own like flaws to kind of contend with.
Yeah, I mean, and Chloe is a great character and all that. I remember playing Uncharted 2. She was just, you would think that she was the next girl that Drake hooks up with, and then all of a sudden, oh look, it's Elena, yay, I guess. I was really into shipping with Drake and Chloe and stuff like that, and I guess the developers had had it the other way around and stuff like that. And then when I was really surprised that she appeared like in 3, but she was just there like, oh, I'm the driver. So yeah.
But the thing that surprised me most with Lost Legacy is that one of their chapters, which is the biggest chapter in the game, chapter 4, kind of goes by the whole game's motif of it being open world, which is kind of misleading. It's kind of just like a big map with like very non-linear objectives where you do things out of order and you find like specific treasures. And like honestly, for the kind of thing that the Uncharted series has done, being Indiana Jones-esque series, it's been finding these lost.
go?
Hello? Where'd he go?
I think he's lost his way.
he definitely was lost in his legacy. But okay, well, let me uh, from what Ken was saying, yeah, you would think, after Uncharted 4 was the end of the Uncharted series, but it proves to show that Naughty Dog can still have one more Uncharted game with them, and Lost Legacy definitely proved that and everything. Taking a character who wasn't, necessarily really developed, but gave her a chance and made it great, pretty much. Yes. So Lost Legacy is Ken's number one. Well, now where did he go?
Alright, so ESP, what is your number one?
Okay, so I mean, again, I didn't really play much games. Literally didn't care for the Switch because my friend literally overhyped it as hell. So it literally got me to like not getting a Switch. I mean, I did play Breath of the Wild briefly when I made my trip to Guatemala, where my cousin bought it as soon as I arrived and stuff like that. But I would say this though. I mean, I know you guys are not sports fans. Maybe you are, but every year in September, I always look forward to the sports games, and I literally had to like decide which sports game I liked the most. NBA 2K17 was a letdown for me because, well, there was just a lot of things wrong with it graphically. Well, not really graphically, but let's just say, why am I missing open layups or open jumpers? FIFA 18 was a good game and stuff. I enjoyed playing it, but they made it more difficult for the defense to actually, defend the ball and everything and stuff. But my number one, after so many disappointments, would have to go to Madden NFL 18. Yes, Madden. The last year and the two previous years have been pretty much a letdown. And, it just seems like, Madden, after the success that Madden 10 had, you would think that, next year's was to be great. But no, it literally wasn't. And, I necessarily did not like 17 at all. Like, I thought it was just really, really bad. But Madden 18, what they did, they took FIFA 17's Frostbite engine and put it on the football game, and it literally worked to perfection. Every single drive feels right. Like you're literally reminded of playing the much older titles of Madden and stuff like that. I'm not going to go much into detail about it, but if you are a sports fan, definitely check it out. So Madden 18 is my number one.
Alrighty, and now to Tails, number one.
Okay. Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I'm gonna come out and say that that's the same for my best overall. That's the best game I feel of 2017. So this game was I don't think anyone was really paying attention when this game came out because it got overshadowed by overrated Breath of the Wild DLC, of which I was one of the ones who didn't notice it, was playing that DLC, but yeah.
My internet is
Xenoblade,
a piece of fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's okay. I finished the video for you, man. I finished your part and stuff.
So, anyway, I guess I'll just go ahead and say, like, the sum it up, like, try this idea again, but, like, this time, try to apply it to the whole game, please.
Okay. We gotta.
We all-
now to
we-
Tails.
yeah, I'm okay. Starting off again. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like I said that. and that's also my best of 2017. But I've never played the original Xenoblade Chronicles. I've only I've only played Xenoblade Chronicles X before then, before Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And honestly, I liked Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like, but no, I guess that's not the best thing to say. I didn't mind Xenoblade Chronicles X, but it really dropped the ball. Although I do feel that it did a couple things right, but like I guess the best parts of Xenoblade Chronicles X were chapters 6 to 9, because that's the part after you get your skull and the part before you get skull flag. Have any of you played Xenoblade Chronicles X?
I have.
I wasn't really big on the Xenoblade series. I've only played briefly the first one.
Yeah.
I played X, and personally, I an hours in. It was kind of boring for me. But I really like the original Xenoblade Chronicles, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never played the original Xenoblade Chronicles, and X was a bit of a disappointment for me. Even though I liked a bit of it, it was like, because basically X stops the ball by giving you, it gives you the ability to fly 3 chapters after it gives you the ability to have a giant robo-mech that has a V that can turn into a car. So it basically gives you, and you'd think that flying would be as cool as the giant robo-mech thing, but then the flying basically, the what the flying does, the flying has an annoying song. The flying goes really slow, and the game expects you to fly everywhere because it replaces the jump button with the fly button, meaning that you can no longer jump around and do stuff. You have to go and fly up into the air and fly to your destination, and that's really boring. And not only that, the entire end game basically condenses down into a single build, because it's like the only build possible to do stuff. Like, you're basically just streamlined into the one true build, air quotes, and that's just really boring. But anyways, back to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That game blew my expectations right out the window.
Okay.
It's like,
Alrighty.
because like the game, like I'm gonna try not to spoil this too much because I'm pretty sure Ken hasn't played it. But first of all, the main character isn't just like the main character is actually made loud and clear. Because in Xenoblade Chronicles X, you think that Cross, the person you play as, is the main character, but in terms of actual story development and everything, Elma is the main character of Xenoblade Chronicles X, because she gets the most development and everything. Meanwhile, the main character in 2 is the one who gets the most development, and it's made clear that he's the main character, and he actually acts like the main character.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who don't like his design and stuff. Personally, I think it's a bit sounding, but because if you don't know, his design's basically a guy wearing a kid wearing a scuba suit, and it's actually, I think it's a unique design. But the combat, oh god, the combat is loads better than in X. Because even though there's the combat's a lot more streamlined, but it's also a bit more complex, and it's easier to understand than X's. You only have 4 arts, 3 of which you can assign at any time. If you don't know what arts are, they're basically like special moves. You can, like, you have an auto attack where if you stand close to the enemy, you automatically attack them. As you auto attack the enemy, your special attacks build up, and these special attacks are called arts. So basically, your arts build up, and then you can like use your arts if they're fully charged. And it's like, I guess it's a bit hard to explain, but then it's a really good combat system. It's better than, because like the arts are assigned to a button this time. So like you have 3 arts, so you have an art on the X button, an art on the Y button, and an art on the button. So unlike in Xenoblade Chronicles X, where you had to press left and right to move over to your art, and then press the A button, here they're all just assigned to buttons. Even beyond the combat, the story's actually pretty good. Unlike with the X's like more laid back story, where it's like barely even noticeable. Like the story in 2, like it's given the main spotlight. Unlike X, where like the online stuff and the exploration is the main deal. The story here, that's given the main focus. Not that there is an exploration. In fact, there's a ton of it, and the exploration actually feels very rewarding, unlike X. And then there's also the side quests, which side quests are pretty good. My main gripe with the side quests are that there's this mechanic in game called Merc Missions, where basically you send out characters to complete missions, and what they basically are, they are basically like, you know how iPhone games have like this timer limit, where like you click a button and you have to wait a certain amount of time. That's basically the Merc missions. You send them out on a mission, and then X amount of minutes later, in real time minutes, the mission's complete. And a lot of my main gripe is that a lot of side quests require you to complete these Merc missions, which is like which really kills the pace. But other than that, there's like, the game actually has dungeons. Like in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you have a random cave or something, but they rarely ever felt like dungeons. Closest thing you have to a dungeon is in the semi-final chapter, and even that's really short. Meanwhile, Xenoblade 2 has these huge ass dungeons that you can get like lost in. So like in chapter 2, which is basically the first real chapter, you have to go through this giant sprawling airship as your first dungeon. And it's really fun to go through because it's like this bunch of treasures, enemies you can either sneak around and fight, and it ends off with some pretty cool boss battle. And the dungeons get more large as you go on.
Yeah.
And there's like 5 characters from how far I've played. There might be more, but I know there's at least 5. But all 5 characters I've met so far, they're all really likable characters. Like, even the one that people say is unbearable, which is like if you've played Xenoblade Chronicles 1, or if you played X, I'm speaking about the WiKi Tatsu XP. basically a no pawn, except that he's actually playable this time, like Vicky. But it's like, it's even him. I didn't find him too unbearable. I'm probably speaking to a lot of you, but it's Xenoblade Chronicles 2 fulfilled a lot of it fulfilled my expectations and more. It exceeded my expectations very, very big. So I guess
Oh.
it's my best game of 2017 and my number one most surprising game.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty.
Do you mind if I take a break to get a drink? I'm a bit.
Okay.
No, yeah, that's fine.
I have
Yeah, that's
So let's move on to the worst games of 2017.
We already did that.
No,
Wait.
that was most disappointing.
No, we got to move to Game of the Year. We already talked about disappointing, so it literally falls in that same
Okay, I'm
category.
gonna be honest. These are too many subgenres for me to keep up with.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We just cut it to 3, just disappointing and surprising and Game of the Year. That's what I just didn't. That's why, just to 3.
So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up here for my game of the year. It's gonna be hard to say because I still gotta get the Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I still gotta get the Persona 5. I still gotta get the Nier Automata. I still gotta get the Tales of Berseria. But so far, my game of the year for 2017 is going to be Mario Odyssey.
Ooh.
Mario Odyssey is a good return to form. I enjoyed the Galaxy games, but I kind of missed like being able to games in a way where I could find things out of order again. And while I will say that in some cases it may not nail the exploration perfectly, some levels can be a bit busier than others, like Seaside, or to the point of where be a bit of a hassle, like in Wooded Kingdom. But like for the most part, I'd like to say that Mario Odyssey basically kind of fueled an interest for me in wanting to play Mario games again. Because I'm gonna be honest, like after Mario Galaxy, I haven't really been touching Mario games in a while, and like Odyssey kind of the magic of what I look for, and like not necessarily 3D platformers, because like a lot of people assume that Mario Odyssey is a 3D platformer first, but I like to think of it more as like a sandbox, but with like 3D platformer elements, because obviously, like it's one of those scenarios where like platforming has its moments, but it's not the sole defining moment. And to me, like given like some of the bad habits Nintendo's been doing as far as like cutting out the different races since like Thousand Year Door and like all these different environments and shit, seeing a return to form with that, with the different environments and seeing like realistic humans in a Mario setting made me actually kind of go, what the fuck is Mario supposed to be again? But like,
oh, yeah, he's back.
I brought back the since like Thousand Year Door of me going to these worlds of being like, wow, I don't know what to expect next, because I was so sick of the previous Mario games having these settings where I was like, okay, so we're kind of in these Mushroom Kingdom-esque places with these generic Toad NPCs or whatever, and then Mario Odyssey, kind of took those restrictions and started taking those risks towards creating more interesting environmental areas again. Some aren't the most original, and then you got places like the Luncheon Kingdom where it's like, what the fuck? And then you have fucking Bowser's Kingdom that takes place in Japan. And I'm like, what? Having the dancing banners.
Like, Bowser's Kingdom is like one of the highlights. Although, what really sucks is that, like, how many people ignore the... Oh,
Can
sorry.
I finish? I'd like to go into more critical analogy of, like, what makes, like, the exploration of, like, Odyssey more top notch than Sunshine and 64 before it. I don't know if I'd want to say if it's better than Galaxy or not, but it definitely resparked an interest in Mario games, and I hope to see more games follow after it. But anywho, I don't really have much else to say, and I feel like I'm filling in. So I'm gonna head out for tonight, guys. Peace.
All right, later, Ken. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue off the whole video and stuff like that.
Ah,
So, alrighty. So, yeah, Game of the Year was what we think are the best games that we have ever played. Now, let me start off by saying that number 3 is your guys' disappointing Game of the Year, and it's Destiny 2. I literally thought this game was a huge step from the first Destiny game. The only thing I did not like about the Destiny was that the main story was, yeah, it was short, but it literally takes the multiplayer aspect, all the, it literally just, it looks so beautiful, is what I just have to say about the game, and it's a lot of fun. Me and my brother started a clan called the Participators because, well, we participate and stuff. And let me just start off by saying that the raid literally is the most challenging raid I've ever played, and stuff, because it literally requires a lot of trust and teamwork to be able to play that damn raid and everything. But the weapon system is really good. They added some pretty cool weapons. They've added some pretty cool designs to your armor and everything. And you've also noticed that they've made some changes, but they were good changes, and stuff. No longer does Zer, the person that always has the rare items, come on a Friday. He literally comes, every weekend and stuff. And instead of him being on just one part of the map, he's literally scattered everywhere. And you literally have to look online where he's going to be at. If he's either going to be in Io, or he's going to be in Titan, or is he going to be, this planet or something like that, And, the leveling system as well, literally, you would think, since the update for the, what was the thing called? Something of the Osiris. I forgot what's it called. But it literally, you could level up more, to have that replay value, so no longer are you stuck in one certain level. As soon as you get that DLC, you could level up even more, and that's what I like about it and stuff like that. It's a ton of fun. I thought it was a good game. I literally, thought it was a better game than Destiny 1 and stuff. The story was too short, but it was good. It was really good. And yeah, so Destiny 2 is definitely my number 3 game of the year.
Yeah. My game of the year is, a surprising one. This was Tails. Most disappointing game of the year, Breath of the Wild. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. But the why it was my best game of the year is for one reason. Well, mostly because of it was a very amazing, a very good looking and amazing game. It had very unique dungeons, but I can agree, there were a few flaws with it. But why it's mostly my best game of the year was because if this game wasn't at the Switch's launch, it wouldn't have sold big. The Switch wouldn't have been so successful, and wouldn't have actually made it to, almost where the PlayStation 2's sales are.
And you could say that, Nintendo wanted to start, their redemption with a bang, and, they added Breath of the Wild and stuff.
Yeah, and that's why it's my favorite game of the year, mainly because it was a big marketing tactic for Nintendo.
And it literally was a perfect one by Nintendo.
Yep. So, what is Tails' game of the year?
I already mentioned my game of the year. Xenoblade 2.
Oh yeah.
And a Blade 2. But yeah. Alright, so I guess I'll just move on with my number 2 game of the year. My number 2 game of the year, and this is a big one because I'm a big fighting game fan, and literally, after, the first one being somewhat okay, but literally the story mode was really fun. But this game story mode was, oh my god, a perfect blockbuster. And I'm of course talking about Injustice 2. Whew, my gosh, this game was a ton of fun. They've made a lot of changes, and it was a really groundbreaking fighting game and stuff like that. Let me just start off by saying that the story mode, I mean, if you guys go to my channel, I did do a let's play of it. I'm not going to go much into detail about the story mode because obviously I don't want to spoil it. But if you guys want to see my let's play on the story mode, then definitely check it out and stuff. My link is, obviously you guys are subscribed to me or something. But anyway, it was a really perfect masterpiece. It literally up to date NetherRealm Studios, great fighting game story mode. And, Capcom should definitely take notes of it too, if they ever want to make a perfect, fighting game story mode and stuff. But pretty much, having this story arc of Brainiac taking over Earth for the first time, and they've pretty much done it always with, DC's Universe Online, DC Lego Batman, and Lego Batman 3, and then of course, some of the, Lego Batman movies that they play in Cartoon Network and stuff like that. And they literally made it more of a mature type story mode and stuff. And it was just really awesome. But again, I'm not going to go much into detail about it. And I just want to say that, the character selection is just, the most remarkable thing ever. They've added some great, heroes and villains of DC Universe, but they've also added special guests too. We got 2 characters from the Mortal Kombat series, which is Raiden and Sub-Zero. They added Hellboy from the Dark Horse comic series. And the next one, oh man, when I watched the Injustice 2 World Championships on the E-League channel, whoa, oh my gosh, dude. When they were going to show the trailer for, Fighter Pack 3, which included Adam and Enchantress. And the next people that are soon to come out, man, it literally caught me by surprise in a fucking good way. Motherfucking Teenage Mutant Ninja fucking Turtles. Oh my god, dude. They literally added the Ninja Turtles. I literally was freaking fired up for this one.
Nice.
Dude, not just one turtle, but fucking all of them. Freaking Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo, motherfucking Raphael. I am sorry if I'm cussing too much. I was just literally hyped up for this and stuff. I literally expected it to be Spawn, but no, they chose the Ninja Turtles. And I could guess why, because, DC did do a crossover comic with Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff. So I could guess why they did it and stuff. And I could see, maybe they'll save Spawn for Mortal Kombat 11, if anything. But oh my gosh, I'm just literally hyped up to see how the Ninja Turtles play out and stuff. And going next to topic about Injustice 2 is, of course, the gear system. This is, in my opinion, a groundbreaking thing for fighting games because, you have Tekken's customization, and you also have Dead or Alive's customization, pretty much, having different costumes for characters and stuff like that. But this one plays more of like an RPG, if anything. Each gear system has their own strengths and weaknesses. You could, have a character where his defense is up, but, he's a little slow side on the attacking, pretty much. It works to perfection, and you literally could have freaking Batman look like a freaking demon, with black and red and stuff like that. You can even have Batman look like his old classic costume with the gray and blue and stuff, he could have freaking Superman dress all black and everything and stuff. You know, the whole different shaders for the characters are just really cool. You know, you could mix in, you could literally, you know, experiment, you know, on some of them, which looks cool or not and stuff. But yeah, Injustice 2 was just, you know, in my opinion, the best fighting game of 2017, and it is my number 2 for Game of the Year.
Oh, nice. Alright, now, I've already stated my number 1. What is yours, ESP?
Alrighty, so my number 1 Game of the Year. This one was kind of a difficult one because, well, I didn't really play a lot of games in 2017. But this game, I knew coming in was going to be the best game that I have ever played. I'm, of course, talking about... I actually don't have a number 1.
Pat, maybe
Oh my god, hold on. Okay, hold on. I have it. I forgot about it. I forgot. Let me think about it right now. Just move on without me. What's your number 1?
Your number 1's obviously me, man.
Oh, what?
Your number 1's obviously VR chat.
VR chat.
Whoa.
No. No. Do you know the way? No. I honestly don't know the way on this one. Okay, so, coming into 2017, again, I mentioned that, you know, I'm a father now and stuff. So, you know, of course, you know, there's this whole thing with financial stuff, you know, so I really didn't buy much games or anything at all. But, number 1, in my opinion, was probably just I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but number 1 had to be VR chat.
What is your number 1?
Okay, I don't want to say this, but I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this. Call of Duty World War II.
What?
Yep, I'm being serious. Call of Duty World War II. Yeah, I could just feel the hate comments coming in right now. I could literally feel them right now. All right, let me just start off by saying that ever since the first Call of Duty game, I have been a big Call of Duty fan. I'm not saying this because, you know, I'm not saying this because, oh, you're a COD fan, you know, blah 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 and stuff. But I could say this though: I did not like Black Ops 3. I did not like Infinite Warfare. I did not like Advanced Warfare. I definitely hated fucking Ghost. World War, because of the whole freaking gimmick of the whole jump packs. I mean the freaking jetpacks stuff, you know, where you could just fucking fly high like fucking Halo and all that stuff. No, World War II literally took that away. Went back to the roots of being a World War II first-person shooter, and just, you know, making it fun. You know, it literally was a fun game, and, you know, I actually enjoyed the campaign a lot. You know, they've added you know, a lot of different things and stuff. I haven't yet, you know, finished it, but it was kind of good that they kind of brought the whole life. I mean, went back to like the first Call of Duty where, you know, your health doesn't regenerate, where you have to constantly like try to find health packs in order to, you know, just replenish your health pretty much, and stuff. The multiplayer is definitely more playable than fucking the last one, which was Infinite Warfare. No longer is there jetpacks or fucking funny looking guns that are fucking overpowered. This is literally World War II weapons that we grew up playing as, from 1 till part 2 and stuff. I mean, again, you gotta really consider this. I did not play the Switch. Again, it was too overhyped for me by a friend, so that's why I never played. I played briefly Breath of the Wild, but I cannot consider it as my favorite because, well, I obviously didn't play much of the game. I can't say Mario Odyssey because I never played the game, but I've heard great things about it and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Call of Duty World War II for my #1 game of the year. It literally brought back the roots of Call of Duty that we know and love and stuff. And I honestly didn't care much for Battlefield 1 and stuff. I never was big on Battlefield games and stuff. So I don't care if Battlefield 1 is the king of first-person shooters. I literally think that World War II was a redeeming factor for Call of Duty and Activision and stuff. So, in a sense, I'm literally looking forward to the next title coming up on November. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. I can just feel the hate comments coming at me right now.
Yeah. Honestly, I've never played Call of Duty, so the only reason I mostly hate on it for the memes. I do not know the way of the Call of Duty.
It was a hard decision to come up with the #1 because, again, like I mentioned before, but hey, I'm sticking to it. Unless you guys want to hear me about my best game of the year was VR chat. Because I do know the way. That meme is stupid.
Yes. Anyways,
That
is
meme is
it.
glorious.
Anyways, that is it for the MeisterDiscussion podcast.
Wait.
Wait.
I think we skipped worst game. Not
No,
that really matters, but
No, yeah. Well, let's just do a quick recap. Well, I mean, disappointing and worst falls in the same category, so I don't really know.
So I guess.
So I think we should just end the video here, everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching the Meister discussions, and next episode. I'm sorry if this episode bored you guys, but next episode will definitely be a much more funner topic to talk about and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So again, this is Mr. ESPino's.
Next episode, we're going to be doing VR chat, obviously.
Oh.
We're going.
And I could say this though. The most games I'm looking forward to in 2018 are Dragon Ball Z Fighters. I'm definitely looking forward for the new Spider-Man game coming out, and I'm mostly looking forward to see what Madden could do ever since, because it's literally gonna be the 30th anniversary of Madden NFL, and I'm a really big sports guy and I love sports games. So yeah, so that's the games I'm looking forward to. But yeah, what games are you guys looking forward for 2018?
I'm mostly looking forward to that news. I'm looking forward to the definitive version of Hyrule Warriors and the update to Super Mario Odyssey. I'm a bit disappointed they didn't announce a new Super Mario Maker, because they did that for the 3DS and they did that for the Wii U. My Wii U's kind of starting to die out now, so it'd be nice if I could have something for my Switch, but
And what are you looking forward to 2018?
Mostly things like Kirby Star Allies, the new Metroid Prime 4, and of course the Super Mario Odyssey update.
Alrighty, everyone. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end the video here. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed this little first episode that we did, and of course, we're gonna go ahead and have a much funner topic the next episode and stuff, because I'm thinking I'm thinking next episode either gonna be a mix of, Legend of Zelda, or it's just something completely different. But yeah.
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
gonna
everyone.
we're going to debate on how much Breath of the Wild sucks.
Yeah. But anyway, this has been Mr. Espinosa X.
This is GamerRaven.
And this is Dementio, signing off.
And we will see you guys on the next one. All right, everyone. It's peace.